This is the Louie T Network.
All right. So we're back for the second half coverage of the game. Redskins and Bengals. 14-13 Bengals lead at the half. First half of the I think I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw the last of the offense, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw them come back out either. I would love to have seen them finish off with a touchdown there. And I don't know how Jay feels about, coming out of the halftime break and, getting guys a rhythm coming out of the locker room. Jay Gruden always has sided on the air of caution when it comes to the safety of players. So it wouldn't shock me as if we didn't see many of the defensive starters for sure, because the defense didn't play bad in the first half. It wouldn't shock me if we didn't see a lot of offensive guys either. We'll see. Good job special teams-wise of getting down there and making a play, stopping the Bengals at the 15-yard line. And you got to remember, let me see who's trotting onto the field here. Yeah, a lot of young guys. Fabian Moreau is in now, so yeah, a lot of the younger guys are coming into the game. There's still a mixture of guys that will contribute, like a Terrell McClain who's in the game, and he's a guy that's going to be in. Junior Gillette is in the game right now. A.J. Francis is in the game. So there's still a mixture of guys that are going to be heavy contributors for us, but there are definitely a mixture. Monte Nicholson is in. Fabian Moreau, who was very impressive last week, is in. Compton, who's going to be a contributor for us, is in, as well as Martrell Spate. So first team defense pretty much done. We still got some contributing guys on the field with the second team unit. A.J. McCarron's in the game, but they still got their first team offensive line in the game. And they've struggled. So you're still getting a good test here for the defense to see how they're going to play. Joe Mixon runs it again on second down. After getting 5 on the first carry, gets about 3 to set up a 3rd and 2 on the next carry. So let's see if the defense can get off the field again. Junior Gillette looks explosive. I can tell you that right now. I've been watching him exclusively the last 2 snaps and some of the snaps at the end of the first half when he was in. And he's moving. He's moving well. And we'll see what he does here on this last snap. Remember, Junior Gillette's number 58. So another run, and they're going to get it. There's space out there. Good tackle by Will Compton to take a gain that could have easily turned into 15 and limit it to about a gain of 6 or 7. Stacy McGee's in the game. Wide open. Monte Nicholson comes and helps escort him out of bounds, but not before a gain of like 25 to Alex Erickson. See. It was a little bit of pressure. Chris Carter has been ultra impressive, and he got pressure on that play. I don't know what Stacy McGee was doing. He kind of dropped underneath. I don't know what he was supposed to be doing, but because there was no interior pressure, Chris Carter's pressure around the edge was nullified and negated because McCarron was able to just kind of sidestep him and then step up in the pocket. So they go fake play action fake there, and Dunbar in the hip pocket of John Ross. So our corners have played well in this game, to be honest with you. Our corners have really been up, and I think that's across the board for the entire preseason. I haven't seen a lot of soft and off, off and soft, I should say, which just annoys the hell out of most fans in general. But I can attest to the Redskin fans who tell me this all the time. They're tired of seeing soft and off, and I haven't seen a lot of off and soft this preseason. He's done a really good job of getting in people's faces. Montreal Spate blowing up the center there. Good job. And it was cleaned up by Comp and Terrell McClain. So that's going to set up a 3rd and long here, about 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8. All right, so 3rd and long, you're going to get a chance to see Gillette rush off the edge here. And they drop him. They drop Junior Gillette into coverage. Montreal Spate almost hits home. Doesn't, but a great tackle by Monte Nicholson and Fabian Moreau to limit the gain to about 6 instead of the requisite 8 needed for the first down. Spate had a chance of the sack, didn't get it. Lanier came over. But Monte Nicholson, I've been impressed with him, man. I remember I gave him a hard time about not being physical enough during the draft process. I knew the guy was athletically gifted, but I didn't see the physicality necessary to succeed at the next level. I was wrong because I've seen this guy be physical in the last 2 preseason games since he's been back from his injury. And that was a big hit. And a 53-yard field goal is good. Snuck into the right upright. And so the Bengals' opening drive yields them a field goal. But Redskins defense get off the field. Nice aggressive tackle, stops them from picking up a first down, and the Bengals tackle on a field goal. So here we are. Hopefully a lot of you were able to join me in the first half, and you're back in the second half, and I thank you for joining me. Remember, I'll be doing the Sunday night game, Niners and Vikings as well, so make sure you come back for that one as well. So we're back like cook crack for the second half. Let me check Twitter, and then we'll get to some of your comments in the comment section and see if you guys have anything to say. Make sure you use the hashtag LouieTLive, of course, to have your comment read on Twitter or in the comment section on the actual live stream. So I'm on Twitter at In the Lab Room. So follow me on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so for more great content. And also, make sure that you like this video and you share it. So, that being said, nothing on Twitter. Let's jump into your comments. AP says, let's start the second half off right. Solid D and productive offense. So the defense, they do their job. It wasn't as clean as you would have liked it. They gave up the big catch to Alex Erickson for about 25 yards, which helps them get into field goal range. But they were able to get off the field, most importantly, the following third down and force them to kick a field goal. So solid defense by the second unit against the Bengals, still first-team offense with the exception of A.J. Green and the quarterback, Andy Dalton. So still a lot of the first-teamers out there for them, and the defense, I thought, performed well there. Mr. Swagster 101 says, who voices your intro? It depends on what part of the intro you're referring to. You'd have to be more specific for me to tell you what exactly part you're talking about. Ouija HTTR says, back like cook crack. That's right. Back like cook crack for the second half of this game. Jeff P says, I've been pretty disappointed with Terrell McClain. I don't think he fits our system. Haven't seen enough of him. I think he's okay. I think he's going to be a solid contributor. So I'm not down on him. We just haven't seen a lot of guys, and not a lot of guys have stood out this preseason along the defensive line. So Will Blackman will take a knee in the Redskins' second-team offense. Let's see who's coming onto the field. see who's coming onto the field. I would assume it's the second team offense though. Saw the second team defense come onto the field, so I'm assuming you're gonna see the second team defense as well. And nope, first team offense, and I like this. I want to see them come out of the gate. I thought if they would have finished with a touchdown, they would have been done for the day, but I want to see them come out of halftime and perform. A crowd of drive. See, hard to get into a rhythm when guys aren't helping you. That's a quick first down completion that gets you ahead of the sticks, gives you a situation where it's 2nd and 5 and everything's available to you in the playbook. Now, we're going to 2nd and 10, and this is what Jay Gruden calls a get-back play or a get-right play, where he likes to try to get back into a manageable situation. This could be a handoff. This could be a quick completion, but I don't think you're going to see aggressiveness here. Pryor, tightly contested there. And now it's 3rd and 10. So, you know, Crowder's drop hurts this possession. And you can't ignore that. These are things that have to be done. And that's what we haven't seen from this team. It's clean execution week in, week out. Possession in, possession out. And it's that lack of consistency that I know it's the preseason, but probably as a Redskins fan has troubled me the most. Is the lack of consistency we've seen. Drop down to Vernon Davis on 3rd and 10, and you get 9. And maybe if that pass is better thrown, maybe he's able to pick up the first down. But Jamison Crowder's drop on first down really hurt that possession. And I tell you this now, after that drive, 3 and out, I'm not sure if the offense won't come back in again after that. And I wouldn't be opposed to sending their ass back on the field again because that wasn't impressive. So, for what it's worth. Mind Draw says, are you worried about your Redskins? I know it's wins and losses don't matter too, but I'm talking about how the players have looked. Am I concerned? Just a little bit. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I feel better about the defense leaving this game, even though that first possession was so reminiscent of last year. What I have to continuously remind myself is that we're literally talking about 6 or 7 new potential starters on this Redskins defense. So it's not the same group from a season ago. It's going to take time. Swearinger is new. Sua Cravens, when he comes back, will be a new starter. But in the meantime, Everson Griffin, DeShazer Everett is out there at safety right now. That's a different starter. You know, Zach Brown in at linebacker, a different starter. Who knows what they're going to do at outside linebacker, but, you know, it could be Preston Smith. It could be Junior Gillette. I don't know. But along the defensive line, it's all different up there. You know, we assumed Phil Teller would start. He injured himself today. That may be Mabu or it may be A.J. Francis. You got Jonathan Allen that's probably going to start at one defensive end position. Stacey McGee, Terrell McClain, whomever, they started the other. Ziggy Hood, we don't know. But it's a bunch of new guys. And so what I have to remind myself is that it's going to take some time. But offensively, yeah, I've been disappointed because you want to see consistency. You want to see this team gelling together. And frankly, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that consistently at all. And that's disappointing. Just like that last possession, Jamison Crowder with a drop. Shouldn't kill. That's not a death sentence on first down to have a drop. But the way that we're playing right now, we need confidence. We need consistency. And that does kill a drive when you're not playing with those things. And it's hard to play with those things when guys are doing that. Terrell Pryor with a drop earlier in the game. Kills confidence, kills consistency. So, yeah, I am a little disappointed in what I've seen. But for what it's worth, I still feel confident that this offense is going to be good when it's all said and done. WeGHTTR says, our defense is just looking fast for once. I'm excited about that if it stays that way. I agree. I think we're running and we're flowing to the football better than I've seen this defense run to the football since the Sean Taylor days of 2005 with LeVar Arrington, when we had legit game-changing speed defensively with Sean Taylor and LeVar Arrington on the same defense when we were running around, flying around. So they call offensive pass interference on the first snap for the Bengals on this possession on Alex Erickson as they tried to set up a bubble screen. He was blocking before the ball got there, which you can see clearly. And so that's going to drive them back 10 yards and make it 1st and 20. So now we got a chance to get off the field defensively. Joey Mbu still in the game. Anthony Lanier at the 5 tech, right next to him. Will Compton in at inside linebacker. Chris Carter outside linebacker along with Junior Gillette. Spate, the other inside linebacker, next to Will Compton. Fabian Moreau at one corner. Dunbar at the other corner. Mixon tries to stretch it out. Great job by Moreau of filling, coming from his outside position. And I tell you what, I saw some holding there. Thought they got away with one. I love the way this defense is flowing to the football, though. I do like that. And like my man Ouija HTTR said, you just feel like this defense is faster for once. And that is something that you got to feel good about. Matthew Lynch says, is our first team offense coming out? And I told you I thought they would. And they did. And I actually want to see them again. 2nd and 17. If we can get a stop on the next 2 plays and force them off the field, I want to see the first team offense again. They fake a screen to Ross, and they're coming back with Mixon. And we had a chance. Monte Nicholson missed the tackle. He came up fast. Again, we got speed, guys. Came up fast, missed the tackle, but we rallied to the football, limited the gain to only 6. Sets up 3rd and 11. So now we had a chance to get off the field on 3rd and long. Let's see what the Redskins draw up. Celia Jones says, who are you impressed with on defense? Bree stood out today. Obviously, I thought he had an outstanding game. AJ Francis really flashed for me for the first time all preseason long. I've been hearing a lot of AJ Francis, and how much they like him. I saw it in this game. Good job. Who is that? Number 20. Is that the rookie out of, I think that's Halsey, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Halsey out of Auburn, 7th round pick, and I like him a lot. Good job. Yep, that's the young fella. I'm telling you, these young boys playing football, and I like Halsey a lot. So now they got big-ass Mo Harris back there as a punt returner. This shit is getting pathetic. Who the hell is Mo Harris going to outrun? You know what? I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not even going to complain about this anymore. At least he got up the field, I guess. So I want to see the first team offense. Let's see who's coming onto the field. But they didn't hang in long enough for us to see who was coming onto the field. So we'll have to wait and see. But Celia Jones, back to your comment of who was impressive on defense thus far. Like I said, Bree, AJ Francis flashed for me for the first time. Zach Brown is still flying around the football. Ioannidis, I thought, had a strong first half. So collectively as a group, you know, we flew around. I thought the defense settled in after that opening possession, and they looked good. Claude Bernard says, why no Mac Brown? You know that this organization, as much as they tell us they love Mac Brown, they don't love Mac Brown for real. I just feel like they need to just let Mac Brown go and find work elsewhere. Mac Brown can play in this league, and we just don't give him an opportunity, and it is what it is. Camden Dorian says, who is your favorite player to watch in the Redskins defense? I don't know if I necessarily have one right now. I just want to see them do well as a collective unit. There's so many new Redskins right now that I can't give you a favorite Redskin to watch on defense right now. You know, you're hoping that somebody morphs into that guy, whether it be Gillette or Jonathan Allen or Ryan Anderson, who didn't play in this game again, or at least I haven't seen him. He didn't play last week. I don't know if he's dealing with an injury or what the situation is with him, but haven't seen a lot of Ryan Anderson since the first preseason game. So you're hoping that one of the young guys steps up. I'm enjoying watching the young guys, really, right now. Moreau, Nicholson, Hosey, Allen. I'm just enjoying watching the young guys grow and try to come of age. Mr. Swagster 101 says, who voices the part where it says, this is the Louie T Network? That's me, man. That's me trying to turn on my adult voice. Now, if you're talking about the female voice, there's a female voice there, then that's someone else that helped me out with that. But if you're talking about a male voice, that's me. So no more. So he just wanted to see that Colt McCoy's in the game now. Backup offensive linemen are in. Brian Quick's in at receiver. So Majay P. Ryan in, cuts back, gets one on the gain. So we've seen the last of any starters in this game now. See, Ryan Frensley says, I forgot about Marshawn. AP 9000 says, love the first team coming back out. We need them to get into motion and start getting a rhythm for when the real games start. I like that they came back out too, even though it didn't net us anything. I just like the fact that Jay Gruden saw fit to bring them back out and play them a little bit longer than he did last game. Remember, the first team offense, because they were so abysmal last week, played the whole first half, so that wouldn't have been any different this week. But to come back out after halftime, I thought was needed, and I'm glad that he did that. Ouija HTTR says, man, I love Jim Tomsula's intensity. He's a very intense guy. Oh, woo! Colt McCoy got lit up, and the Bengals have the football. He got smoked. Let's see what happened. All right, Vincent Painter whiffed on his block, got beat by Margus Hunt. It looks, is that Margus Hunt still? Nah, that's Willis. I don't. Oh, that's their rookie out of K-State. Jordan Willis comes off the edge, beats Vincent Painter, and causes the fumble. Let's see how the defense responds to sudden change here with this turnover. 1st and 10, you're 31. Gillette beats that tackle. Look for the ball, Fade. Let's go. Let's go, Fab. Let's go. Fab looked at the last second. Slightly underthrown, but Fab looked back at the last second and got a piece of that. Good job, boy. So Gillette won on that play. Third and 6 now. I was listening to him talk about Fabian Moreau. Fab Moreau with a great play on that first down. Redskins stop him for 4 on the second down now, setting up a 3rd and 6. Good coverage. Q-Bar almost gets the pick. Woo! I love the aggressiveness of these corners this year, boy. They in the face. He's in the hip pocket of Cody Core. Almost picks it off. We're not afraid of these receivers' speed, man. And every single one of our corners can run. Look at Q-Bar over there trying to get one, man. So sudden change of possession. Defense comes on the field, gets a stop, forces a field goal attempt from 45 yards out that the Bengals miss. Defense playing well. Young guys stepping up. Look, I'm telling you, man, the defense got off to a rough start today. I was hard on them on the opening possession, but since then, the first and second team defense has looked well, has looked really good. And I really am enjoying watching the young guys play. And I still consider Quentin Dunbar a young guy, man, because you gotta remember, he came onto the roster as a receiver. This man is still learning the cornerback position, and he's playing with a lot more confidence this year. I've seen it all camp. I like what I'm seeing out of Q-Bar, man. RG3 hashtag says, do you like how Cousins is playing today? I mean, he was okay. He wasn't great. I've seen better, and I know he can be better, and he will be better. So I'm not really upset. What you and I as Redskins fans out there have to consider and realize is that Kirk Cousins isn't going to change his stripes. He is what he is. He's not a guy that's going to extend plays very often. He's not a guy that's going to use his legs to pick up yardage very often. He's more of a robot, and that's who he is. He wants to go within the rhythm and timing of a play. He's not going to extend many plays. He's not going to make things happen off schedule, and I'm fine with that as long as he's making the right decisions with the football. The minute you start forcing plays like he did early in the game to the running back out of the backfield and Chris Thompson, and you throw a pick six to Burfict, that's when I start having a problem. But he was okay. He wasn't great. Angry Candy fan says, I'm back. I'm glad you came back. Camden Dorian says, I wish my coach had a solid coach like the Redskins. I love Jay Gruden, man. I really do. I love Jay Gruden, and I think he's still growing as a coach. And it's him taking over the play calling. It's a different look for him. I'm not a fan of coaches being play callers. It's too much for a coach to have to juggle during the course of a game. But if that's what you feel is necessary to do, I don't have a problem with it. So okay, Mac Brown in the game now. So somebody smoked Mac Brown up. He's getting some touches now. So Colt McCoy on the bootleg. Finds Brian Quick. First down. He's going to make this team, guys. Brian Quick is going to make this roster. I really like Brian Quick. He's a big guy. Gives us another option as a big target. Still haven't seen a lot of Josh Doxson. Maybe he's not playing tonight. If I had to guess, I'd say no Doxson, because we would have seen 18 by now. Haven't seen him once. So that leads me to believe that they're resting Doxson or something's wrong with him. Mac Brown gets a touch, and look at Mac go. Look at Mac go for 7, man. I just don't understand why Mac Brown can't get more touches. I don't understand why they don't see fit to let this man touch the football more. I don't understand. I don't understand. Jeff P says, I'm a Hokies fan too. I'm telling you, bro, one of the best signings of the offseason was Torian Gray. The DBs were locked down. I'm telling you, they're being coached better because they're playing so much better. They're playing tighter to the line of scrimmage. You're not seeing a lot of soft and off. Oh, way to fight for it, Mo Harris. Benet Ben Wickery, which was a free agent signee from Carolina. Boy, he's playing well in this game, I must say. And he came back for this ball with Mo Harris, and he tried to take it from Mo. Give me that. He wanted the cookies, man. Mo wouldn't give it to him, though. Mo wouldn't give it to him. But Benet Bewickery said, I want the cookies, man. Give them up. Mo said, man, nah, you can't have these cookies, man. 3rd and 2 here. Samaje Perine in the game. They give it to him. Samaje puts his head down and gets nothing. Absolutely stuffed on the interior of that. And that's going to bring up 4th and 2. And we're going to see if the Redskins decide to go for it or they punt. We're right around midfield, and I think Jay Gruden's going to elect to go for it. Redskins at the Bengals 44-yard line. So they're going to go for it. As long as it's not another run, I'm good. After what I just saw, the interior of that line getting blown up the way they did, got to throw it this time. They run it again, and Perine is stopped for about a 4-yard loss. I told him not to run it. Glasgow, a rookie out of Michigan, man. Bust that play up in the backfield. It never had a chance. They don't touch him, and he blows this play up. From the word go, Ryan Glasgow was in the backfield. Samaje Perine never had a shot. I said they shouldn't be running here. They ran it, and you see what happened. So turnover on downs. Bengals will take over at their own 47-yard line. Good tackle by Joey Mbu. Good job. For about a 1-yard gain. RG3 hashtag says, to be honest, Mac should be the Redskins starter. I don't know if he should be starting. I haven't seen him enough because they don't give him enough touches. Oh, great play by Martrell Spate, man. He's been having a hell of a preseason too, man. In there with AJ Francis. Wow. I'm going to tell you what, Martrell Spate, that was awesome. There's a lot of guys that I think can step up on this defense. They're going to have to, though, in order for this defense to make plays. We come with a blitz. A.J. McCarron brought down by Joshua Holsey. Young fella making another play. That's a beautiful blitz there drawn up. And Holsey came untouched. They overload the left side of that. Will Condon comes with a blitz from the linebacker position, which forces the running back to take him. Holsey then comes on a slot blitz. Beautiful overload on the left side. And that's a beautiful blitz there drawn up by the DC. Block! 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 Let's go. Got to be, the penalty on the play is probably going to be legal players downfield because he never kicked the football. So I'm assuming this is on the Bengals for having guys down the field. And watch him go behind the back. Woo! And that's beautiful. John Pascal is untouched. Off the edge. Look at that behind the back. Woo! On John Pascal, but he couldn't get away on the play. And Redskins are going to take over with some great field position. So the Redskins are going to get great field position offensively. So now the question is, what can you do with it? You get the ball all the way back at the Bengals' 27-yard line now. Mac Brown in the game, and he gets the carry. And he somehow gets a yard or two after initially looking like he was going to get nothing on the play. But how? Jeff P says, does Spate make this roster as the fourth linebacker? Yep. Jeff, Martrell Spate's definitely making this roster. I know a lot of people like Nico Marley. He's a nice story, but he's not making this roster. I think the 4 inside linebackers, they may keep a 5th. But see, Colt McCoy's got time in the pocket, zings it in there to Carrier. Derek Carrier, backup tight end, with a good catch in traffic for a first down inside the Bengals 15-yard line. So you know that Mason Foster and Zach Brown are making the roster. Those are your 2 starters. Will Compton is making this roster, and Martrell Spate is making this roster. So those are 4 right there. I think they're going to keep a 5th, potentially. If they do, then I'll be anxious to see who that is. But you normally keep a lot of linebackers, especially when you play a 3-4 defense. We got so many outside linebackers, though. I think they need to keep another inside linebacker. So I'm going to make a roster projection video sometime before the season starts to kind of give you my prediction for the roster. I think I was off by like 4 or 5 players last year. So we'll see. Saleha Jones says, Holsey might make this team. I like Holsey a lot. And I told you I liked him coming out of Auburn. I thought he was feisty. I thought he was competitive. And I thought he did a really good job in college. Very good performance in the first game of the season versus Clemson last year against Mike Williams, who was the first receiver taken off the board in this year's draft. Or second after Corey Davis was taken by the Titans. So I thought he was ultra impressive in that game. So I think that he's got a shot. So let's look at the cornerback position since you bring up Holsey. So you've got, of course, Josh Norman and Bashaud Breeland as your 1 and 2. Then you have Dunbar in the mix. You've got Fabian Moreau, who is definitely making the roster. So I would say the first 3 corners that are definitely on this team are Josh Norman, Bashaud Breeland, and Fabian Moreau. You know that the slot corner out of Virginia Tech, Kendall Fuller, is going to be on this roster. So that's 4 locks to make this roster. Then I think Quentin Dunbar is going to be on this team, so that's 5. And then I think Holsey has a legitimate shot to make this team, so that's 6. Everybody after that, I think you're out back. But I think Holsey has a legitimate shot. I think he's got a chance to make this team if they keep 6 corners. I'm assuming they're going to keep 6 corners. I'm assuming they're going to keep 6 corners and 5 safeties. I'm thinking about the safety position right now. And you got DeShazer Everett. You've got, who's definitely making his team, along with Sua Cravens and, of course, DJ Swearinger. So that's 3 right there. Will Blackman is making his team as a 4th safety. And Monte Nicholson, our draft pick, is making his team. That's 5 safeties right there. D'Angelo Hall eventually is going to come back. He's going to be on a PUP list to start the season off. At that point, I guess you're going to have to cut somebody. We'll see what happens then. But McCoy has Derek Carrier wide open, and Carrier gets in. Now that's an interesting position. The tight end position is interesting. How many are you keeping, first of all? And who are the guys you're keeping? Obviously, Niles Paul right now I think is more so a H-back, fullback type. So I don't know if they consider him a tight end. But you've got Vernon Davis, you've got Jordan Reed, you've got Derek Carrier, and you've got Jeremy Sprinkle. If you're not counting Niles Paul as a tight end. If you're counting Niles Paul as a tight end, then you've got Paul, Davis, and Reed for sure. And then Carrier and you got Carrier and Sprinkle So the question then becomes who you keeping, who you cutting loose. So Redskins take the lead with the touchdown. Colt McCoy to Derek Carrier with a strong drive, a couple of big catches to help them get in the end zone after the defense plays well and special teams makes a play. So the question then becomes, you're keeping 4 tight ends, you're keeping 3 tight ends. Is Niles Paul considered a tight end? Does that matter? We'll see. I think that Derek Carrier is going to make the team over Sprinkle. I think Sprinkle is a guy that they would like to keep on the practice squad. But Derek Carrier isn't eligible for the practice squad, and if he gets cut, he's a guy that is probably not going to clear waivers. Someone's going to scoop him up. So I think the Redskins would feel safer getting rid of a guy like Jeremy Sprinkle and then putting him on the practice squad, then maybe cutting loose a guy like Carrier, who you probably won't have the ability to re-sign, like, say, if you're in a pinch come week 5 or 6. So I think Carrier is going to make this team. Jeff P says, I think Carrier and Sprinkle could both get cut. If you had to keep one, who would it be? I'd cut Sprinkle because I don't think anyone else in the league is going to scoop Jeremy Sprinkle up. As a rookie, you haven't seen much from him. I don't think anybody else is going to be in a hurry to scoop him up off waivers. I think he clears waivers and you stick him on your practice squad if you like Sprinkle enough. Whereas with Carrier, you wouldn't be able to do that and you'd lose him. And I think you want to keep Carrier. So for me, the quarterback or the tight end food chain right now is Reed, Davis, Paul, if you consider him a tight end. If not Niles Paul, then the next guy in line is Derek Carrier. And you've seen him in with the first team, Carrier. So I fully expect him to make the roster. Bengals have the football now. They go play action fake bootleg. And they pick up about a good 3 on the play. As we get the 4th quarter underway. We'll be watching A.J. Francis because he flashed for me tonight. And so I want to see more out of A.J. Francis. Because now I'm thinking he might be a guy that, it's big space there to run. He picks up about 7. And so it's going to set up a 3rd and 1. A.J. Francis flashed earlier in the game for me. So Salea Jones says, what running back is getting cut? If I had to guess, Matt Jones is getting cut. They only kept him on the roster for depth purposes just to make sure nobody got hurt. And being that everybody's healthy as of right now, look at make the tackle. Spate had a chance. I was about to say, look at Spate, man. The dude is flying around. But he missed the shoestring tackle on 3rd and 1. Allowed the running back to turn the corner and pick up the first down. Matt Jones is going to get cut. Remember, he requested a trade. They don't like him anymore. And the guy that loved him isn't here anymore, and Scott McLuhan. He's gone. As soon as they have to make these cuts, he's gone. I would assume that Matt Jones and Mac Brown will see the bulk of the touches next week in that 4th preseason game versus Tampa. And your running back position will look like this. Rob Kelly, Samaje Perine, Chris Thompson, and if I had to guess, if they're keeping 4, that 4th guy would be Mac Brown. Now, the question then becomes, do they consider Niles Paul a fullback / H-back? And if so, does that count towards the running back number? If that, in fact, is the case, they wide open in the flats. And if that is, in fact, the case, and they decide that they're only keeping 4 backs, then Mac Brown and Matt Jones would then be gone. And your 3 backs would be your 3 running backs would be Thompson, Rob Kelly, and Samaje Perine with Niles Paul filling out that group as an H-back. So we'll see. Lanier had good penetration there, but wasn't able to get back there and didn't get any help. Jeff P says, weird to see Comp in there so late. I'm kind of happy because Zach Brown is much more talented. It is weird to see him in there this late, but he's still going to be a contributor on this team. Don't fool yourself. A lot of people aren't huge fans of Will Compton. Will Compton is going to be a key contributor for this defense. He's going to be getting in the game, and so we need him to be healthy too. Joey Mbu almost got in there. There was some early penetration, but not able to corral the running back before he picks up the first down. And so I'm hoping that this last quarter goes quickly with a lot of runs the clock out, and we're able to get out of here. And I think we've stayed relatively healthy. I think, you know, and again, we always find out something like we found out with Spencer Long last week. You know, he ended up having surgery after the game, and he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. He's supposed to be ready for week 1. I don't buy it. And so right now I feel comfortable that we've pretty much gotten out of this game unscathed, other than the Phil Taylor injury, and we're hoping that that's not severe. But I want to say this to Redskins fans. I hope you guys are watching A.J. McCarron right now, because he has a really good chance of being our quarterback next season. I hope you guys are recognizing this. And I haven't said this on air, and I was going to do a video about it, but I never got around to it. But A.J. McCarron was drafted by Cincinnati when Jay Gruden was there. Jay Gruden is familiar with him. He's going to be a free agent next year, and I really think he's going to get a chance to start. And if the Redskins can't come to an agreement with Kirk Cousins, I think the first guy that they're going to go after next year in free agency is A.J. McCarron. You heard it here first if you haven't already heard it before. A.J. McCarron is a guy that I think Jay Gruden is comfortable with. He knows Jay Gruden's offense. And I think the Redskins... Oh, Lord. What is that? Oh, okay. Thought that went up straight in the air. So, I'm not saying... I'm just saying, Redskins fans watching this game, pay close attention to A.J. McCarron. Because A.J. McCarron might be our starting quarterback next season. I'm not going to say that many more times, but just remember, I said that, and I truly believe that that is a realistic possibility. If you ask me the percentage chance of Kirk Cousins coming back next season to the Redskins, I tell you it's 45%. If you ask me, A.J. McCarron, oh, picked off. Fish Smithson has a chance to go. He's running out of juice. He's running out of gas, but he picks off A.J. McCarron. Fish Smithson. Look at the guys mob him. I love it. You love it for the young guys, man. Fish ran out of gas, boy. Good old Fish Smithson. Boopski got himself a gift. Oh, Joe, don't do that. So, in any event, I would put Kirk's return to Washington at 45 next year. And obviously, you know how I feel about that. I think his return is all dependent upon the season and how it goes. If things go well this year, we win a playoff game, he feels like we're close, he comes back. I think the Redskins at that point would be obligated to pay the man. If we don't have a great season, if Kirk doesn't have a great season, he's gone. And I would put A.J. McCarron being the Redskins' next quarterback at 30%. That's how strongly I feel about that. And then the Redskins quarterback not being the future quarterback, that is, not being on the roster right now, I would put it at 25%. Obviously, Colt McCoy, if Kirk Cousins isn't back next year, obviously Colt McCoy is the first in line to get an opportunity. But if we brought in A.J. McCarron, I would fully expect A.J. McCarron to beat him out. I like A.J. McCarron. I've liked him since Alabama. He's another one of these guys. I talked about this in the game that I did earlier with the Bears, with Mike Glennon. Another one of these guys that's just young and needs an opportunity to start in this league. Has to sit and wait his turn because he wasn't a first-round pick and he's behind a guy that's a starter, entrenched as a starter. But when he gets an opportunity, I think he can be a starting caliber quarterback in this league. So we'll see. But in any event, let's get to some more comments. Ouija HTTR says, Compton is in his correct role. He should not be starting, but I still like him. And I think that's how most of us Redskins fans feel. We like Will Compton. We like Comp a lot. And he's going to be a contributor, but he probably shouldn't be starting. He should be a guy that comes in as depth. And that's his role right now, and I think he's going to do a good job in that role. X Final Gaming says, how much do you feel the preseason depicts how first-team defense, offense will do in the regular season? There's a little bit that you can take from it, but you don't want to run crazy with it because at the end of the day, it is preseason, and there is limited game planning being done in the preseason for your opponent. And so you can't necessarily take what you see and run with it. You have to take it with a grain of salt. So let's go back to the percentage thing. If we were saying how much if we were taking preseason into consideration as to what they were showing a replay again of the pick by Fish Smithson. Check down to Jeremy Sprinkle, and he doesn't catch it. In any event, if we're going percentage-wise as to how it matters on offense and defense, I'd say the preseason matters about 30%. Because you want to get there healthy. You want guys to get in work. You want them, the most important thing you get from preseason, I believe, is you get your lungs into game playing shape. It's one thing to go and practice. It's another thing to be in a game and have to be on the field for 15 consecutive plays. A team puts together a 15-play drive. Or there's, like last week, Aaron Rodgers going no huddle, hurry up. You can't simulate that in practice. I mean, you can, but it's not the same thing. That's what the preseason helps you understand is, guys getting into shape, football shape. It's one thing to be in shape. It's another thing to be in football shape. So there's a lot of things that come with the preseason, but I don't think one of them is really the performance on the field necessarily. I mean, you can tell when a team isn't talented. Matt Hazel catches it. Let's see if he gets the first down. And he does. Good job of Colt McCoy standing in the pocket and delivering a good football to Matt Hazel for the first down. what you want to do is get your football shape in the preseason. And these preseason games, I think, do help with that. Matt Jones with a run for about 3 yards there as this clock is starting to wind down, which is what we want. Ouija HTTR says, I don't mind AJ being the quarterback, especially with the discount. Well, I just want you guys to kind of wrap your brain around that, just in case. Jeff P says, quarterback heavy draft at 18, though, so maybe we could see 2 new QBs on the roster next year. Yeah, but how bad are you going to be to get your hands on one of those quarterbacks that you're talking about? That's the problem. We're not going to be bad enough. Like, this Redskins team is going to be good enough to win at least 7 games this year. At least. 7-9 is going to get you somewhere in that 13 to 17 range in the draft. And generally speaking, as we saw last year, even in a quarterback class that we weren't that enamored with, that's still not good enough to get you shit at quarterback, okay? We saw the Bears trade up 1 spot to ensure they got Mitchell Trubisky at 2. We saw the Chiefs trade all the way back from like 29 up to 10 to get Patrick Mahomes. We saw the Texans trade all the way up from like 20-something to 13 to get. This is the best Matt Hazel's looked all camp. So he makes another play, gets us inside the 10, 1st and goal after another good throw by McCoy. McCoy looking confident. So, you saw Watson come off the board at like 13. And I'm trying to think, was there any other first-round quarterbacks? You had Trubisky, Watson, and Mahomes. I think that was it. In any event, we saw when there are quarterbacks that are good, they come off the board quickly, and we've seen that. We saw what the Rams did for Goff. We saw what the Eagles did for Wentz. We saw what the Redskins did for Robert Griffin III. If you even think a guy's remotely good, he's gone in the first 10 picks. And so, how many guys realistically are we going to be able to get our hands on if we've got, say, the 15th pick in the draft? So, we'll see. And then also what people are assuming, is that these guys are coming out. Sam Darnold has another year of eligibility. He doesn't have to come out. And he's already said, hey, don't tank for me because there's no guarantee I'm leaving SC after the season. Same thing can be said for the other quarterback. Dang it. I can't even think of his name right now. But there's Darnold and there's one more guy that is an undergraduate that has a chance to go back to school. I'm a Josh Allen guy. He'll be in the draft next year. But in any event. Saleo Jones says, how many wins the division? I can't say. I got to look at the schedule. I don't know what everybody's schedule. I know we play a tough schedule. We play the AFC West and we play the NFC let's see, we played the NFC North last year. We played the NFC South the year before, Atlanta, Carolina, and company. So we're probably we're playing the West this year. So NFC West, AFC West this year. And because of that, you could see a situation where 10, 11 games win this division. I don't expect the Cowboys to win 13 or 12 games this year. I don't expect the Giants to win 12 or 11 games. So I think 11 games, 10 will win this division, 11 for sure. That's how I feel. I don't see any 12 win teams coming out of this division. Matt Jones with a nice cutback. Takes it to the 4-yard line. I think we're going to get a holding penalty here. And they do. Going to move us back. RG3 hashtag says, AJ should be traded. I really think he's a starting quarterback. And I thought they would trade him, but we've seen in the past Cincinnati hold on to some assets. So we'll see. A lot of times in this league, a lot of times in this league, you'll see teams hold on to quality starting backup quarterbacks because you just never know what's going to happen. The only team that seems to deal their backups is New England. But that's because they're always drafting more guys to develop. But even they have held on to Jimmy Garoppolo. So we saw Tampa Bay hold on to Mike Glennon. And that's generally what you get in this league, is you get teams holding on to veteran quarterbacks or young guys that are veterans that we think can play and potentially start in this league, but you just don't feel comfortable getting rid of them. Protect428 says, AJ is an interesting topic to talk about, fam. I think he can be a good starter. I do too. And that's why I've wrapped my brain around the whole Kirk Cousins situation. And I said, look, I love Kirk. I want him in D.C. I don't want him to go anywhere. I want him to be our quarterback for years to come. But if this thing gets out of control price-wise and he's not – I don't mind paying him the money if he's going out and performing. Like last year, he played well enough. And I get it. I understand that he wasn't great late in the season versus the Giants, versus the Panthers. There were some games where he struggled. I get it. I understand that. But there were other games where defensively we didn't get it done, and he did play well enough. The Cincinnati game, he played well enough to win. Obviously, if special teams, if D-Hop makes the field goal, we win. But the defense wasn't great in that game either. They did generate some turnovers, though, but that's nor here nor there. The Lions game, he took us down the field. He did enough to win. Matt Jones fumbles in that game. D-Hop misses a field goal in that game. And the defense gives up the touchdown at the end of that game. He did enough to win in that game. You can say the same thing for the Dallas game on Thanksgiving. The defense was horrible in that game. They never got a stop. Oh! Brian Quick drops a touchdown. That would have been great. Oh, he was worried about his feet. Come on, man. Catch the ball. Bro, good throw by Colt. But in any event, Kirk did enough to win us enough games to get into the playoffs last year, despite the struggles in some late games. D-Hop connects on another field goal, and he's 5 for 5 in his preseason, and that's a good bounce back for him. So I'll tell you this much. If Kirk doesn't perform well or we're not satisfied with what he brings to the table, and look, there are a number of teams out there willing to pay this man the bank. And when I say the bank, I mean Cleveland, Jacksonville, San Francisco, possibly. I don't want to throw Houston in there with Deshaun Watson anymore, but Arizona, Pittsburgh, these are all teams with veterans that might be gone at the end of the year that may need a quarterback next year. It's ridiculous the amount of teams that could potentially need a quarterback next year, and you're sitting here with a guy that's a franchise quarterback. Teams are going to pony up, and we may not feel comfortable with the price tag. If that's the case, and a guy like A.J. McCarron's out there and he's available, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. So, in any event, Protect428 says, bro, what's your opinion on Nate Sudfeld? Third stringer or something more? Yeah, I don't see it from Nate, man. I like Nate. I don't love Nate. And he'll never be more than a backup in this league. He could be somebody's backup quarterback if he can learn the offense and learn, how to play the game, how to be a pro, how to prepare. He could be somebody's backup, but there's no way. I look at Nate Sudfeld and I see a starting NFL quarterback. So, let's see. Jeff P says, I said that about John Allen and he dropped to 17 LOL. Different scenarios, yeah, but it happens. Yeah, but you understand that was a defensive lineman with some issues with the shoulder that people were concerned about versus quarterback. Quarterbacks never fall like that in the draft. I won't say never. That's not a good word to use. Rarely. We saw Aaron Rodgers fall to the Packers in the draft with him and Alex Smith. But how often? That doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't. We don't see quarterbacks fall in drafts very often unless they're not good. Like everybody considered Johnny Manziel falling in the draft. Johnny Manziel wasn't very good. So Leo Jones says, how many receivers do you think we're keeping? I err on the side of 6. Jay Gruden is an offensive guy. He loves offensive players and loves to have that position kind of locked and stocked. So I'm going with 6. And taking a look at the receiver position quickly. Obviously, you've got Pryor. Excuse me. You've got Pryor. Excuse me again. You've got Pryor, Doxson, Crowder. Locks. That's 3. Then you've got Grant, another lock. That's 4. Then you get into the territory of Robert Davis. You get Brian Quick. That's 6. I'm forgetting somebody too. Somebody that should be counted as a lock, or at least close to it. So let's go through this again. Pryor, Doxson, Crowder. That's 3. Grant is 4 for sure. So you know those 4 guys are going to be on the roster. Then after you get past 4, that's when you get into the Robert Davises, the Brian Quicks, the Hazels. Oh, okay. I remember now. Mo Harris. That's a guy that I think is going to make this roster. That's 5. They like the Tompkins kid. We haven't seen him all year from last year. That was in the preseason. He's been hurt. So I don't think he's going to make the team. But Mo Harris is the other guy I was thinking about. So Mo Harris, then you get into that. After the top 4, who you know are making the roster, then you get into that Robert Davis draft pick in the 6th round, I believe, out of Georgia State. You get into Matt Hazel, and you get into Brian Quick. So if you're keeping 5, I think we know the 5. If you're keeping 6, then you've got a situation with 3 for 1. And that's Hazel, that's Davis, and that's Quick. I want to keep Brian Quick. So I think we're going to keep 6. And I think those are the 6. So I'll run through the 6 again. So Pryor, Doxson, Crowder, Grant, Harris, and Quick are your 6 that I think they're going to keep. Poopin' for Noopin'. Sorry if this was already asked, but do we know why Doxson wasn't out there? I was disappointed not to see him. I don't know. I've been asking that question. Haven't gotten an answer yet, so I'll do some digging after the game is over to find out what happened to him. But Jeff Driscoll is in the game, and he's taking them right down the field. Got some athleticism. They've run a couple of read option plays. He's throwing a dart down the field, and just like that, they're inside the Redskins' 20-yard line with a chance to take the lead with a touchdown. So 2-minute warning is approaching now, and we'll see if the Redskins defensively can get a stop and try to preserve the victory. So that's where we stand right now. And remember, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network. I thank you guys for joining me. Also, make sure that you like this video, you share this video, and you follow me on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. And also, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content now and into the future. As we'll continue to talk Redskins football, we'll continue to talk about every single team in the National Football League. And I've got one more live stream tonight. San Francisco 49ers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. I will be live from that as well. All right, Jeff P says, let us know about Doxson. So, you know what? We got a break in the action. Nothing really going on. I'll look it up right now. So let's do that right now. So I'm going to try to see if I can figure out why he didn't play. Because I was under the assumption he played last week. I was under the assumption that he would play. Not exactly sure why he didn't play in this game. See if I can find it.
The universal color of love, friendship, and harmony. But here, you don't feel any of that. You feel docile, sad.
So I don't see anything right now. And I'm pretty sure everybody will ask after the game, where was he? And we'll get something. So we're going to find out. So I just think Jay Gruden said he wanted to ease him back into the lineup. So I'm thinking that they just held him out. They didn't want to rush him back because they feel like he's going to be a big part of what they do moving forward, and they don't want any setbacks. So if I had to guess, when Jay Gruden is asked after the game why Josh Doxson didn't play, I'm assuming he's going to say, so listen to this. I'm reading an article from CSN Mid-Atlantic, and it says, tight end Jordan Reed is back at practice, and while he may or not play against the Bengals, Doxson needs to play plenty. It's time. So there was every reason to believe he would have been playing in this game, and I'm thinking that they just said, look, this guy's had nothing but issues since he's gotten here with injuries. We don't want him to have something flare up here. We don't want to push him. Maybe he said there was some tightness in pregame warm-up. I don't know what the situation was, but they decided to hold him out. And maybe it was for the best. That's too far. That football was not even catchable. Okay. They're offsetters. He's blocking. The hell was that about? So, Jaden Dolphelmeyer says, Josh Doxson was walked off the field during pregame, not sure of the injury. And that's what I just said. I guessed that maybe something happened in pregame that the team was a little concerned, and they just said, you know what? We're not going to play him tonight. So if he did aggravate something or he hurt himself, that's another setback for Josh Doxson in his rough start to his career thus far. Saleha Jones says, what do you think about our overall performance today? I thought it was a really solid performance. I was impressed with the I leave this game being more impressed with the defense than I have been all preseason long. Thought they bounced back after the opening possession, which was just horrible. It reminded me a lot of last year. Thought they were able to get off the field. I don't know if we saw A.J. Green after that first possession, though. And that may have changed some things as to why they looked so much better after the first possession, which A.J. Green ate us up. But in any event, we were able to get off the field, force a turnover, get off the field on third down. The rest of the game, defensively and offensively, after the slow start, we were able to score some points. Still a lot of work to be done on both sides of the football, especially offensively. But we ran the football better in this game, and that's a big takeaway. So we'll see. Third and goal, now 4th and goal as the Redskins try to preserve the W. Will Blackman with a tackle to bring up 4th and goal from about the 7-yard line. Camden Dorian says, I saw an article where it said he had some stiffness and the Redskins didn't want to risk it. We'll find out. You know, we can sit here and speculate, but something happened obviously during pregame, and the Redskins weren't comfortable with sending him out there. That's too far. So the Redskins are going to get their first win of the season, or preseason, 23-17. That's not pass interference. He should have thrown the ball to the hook route right in the front of the end zone. So the Redskins are going to hold on 23-17. Get their first win of the preseason. I think you got to feel good that we came out of this game defensively playing better football. I think gained a little bit of confidence in this game. And also, I think you got to feel good, too, that we didn't sustain any major injuries. Phil Taylor is the one guy that got hurt. And from what we're hearing, it's a quad strain, which it's not minor for a 300-pound guy, but it could be worse. And I feel good about the fact that we were able to come out of this game relatively healthy, man. And that was the biggest thing. We've seen teams lose players for the season this week in preseason game number 3. And I think we basically came out of this thing unscathed. So I think we got to feel good about that. Both teams, really. I know the Bengals had some guys leave the game, but I don't consider any of those injuries to be serious. You know, Vontaze Burfict was able to walk to the locker room on his own power. He looked like he might have strained something or sprained something, but he's going to be fine. Same with Jeremy Hill. Looks like an ankle injury, but he's going to be fine. They're not playing next week, so that'll give them an extra week of rest. So I think they're going to be fine. I think both teams came out of this thing relatively healthy. So we'll see. Ryan Frensley says, what happened to Kendall Thompson? He's been dealing with an injury all camp long. He's yet to play. I don't think he's going to play. I think the Redskins are going to release him and try to bring him back on the practice squad because they like him. And he'll get a chance to compete next year for a spot on this roster. So that's going to do it for this live stream. Redskins get the win, 23-17 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Overall, thought the Redskins defense started slow on the first drive but picked it up thereafter. Looked really good. Second-team defense looked good. The young guys looked good defensively. The corners are playing exceptionally well. I really like the way our corners are playing. I like the way we're rallying to the football. And like Ouija HTTR said, I love the fact that this team just looks faster on defense, something we've lacked for many years. And as far as the offense is concerned, still a work in progress. You don't walk away from this game feeling 110% confident that the offense is where it needs to be to beat Philadelphia in week 1. But what you do like is that they were able to overcome early adversity, some penalties, the Kirk pick 6, and come back and score a touchdown, add a field goal. And so they got into a little bit of an offensive rhythm there, and the run game looked better. And from that standpoint alone, you got to be encouraged if you're a Redskins fan. But in any event, Redskins get the victory, get our first win of the preseason, 23-17. You won't see any of the starters next week. We'll learn more about the Josh Doctson situation and find out what happened. And we'll talk about that this week at some point. But I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Redskins. I will see you later on in the week. We'll talk about Doctson. We'll talk about the 53-man roster. And we'll start prepping for week 1 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I will see you next time. Remember, I've got another live stream. So I know you may be Redskins fans and you may not care anything about the 49ers or the Vikings. Guess what? We play both of those teams this year, so you might want to tune in to my stream because we got both of those teams on the schedule this season. So there's a reason to watch if you're a Redskins fan. But in any event, I'll see you a little bit later on for the Redskins stream down the road. If you can manage to do so, come back and join me for the nightcap Sunday Night Football 49ers at Vikings. Until then, my name's Louie T. I'm signing off. See you next time.